third grade. Today is Thursday, and we are continuing our lessons that have to do with Denver, the big city. And so this week so far, we have been looking at early Denver. We've been looking at Denver then and now and some differences between then and now. And today we're going to focus on the people of Denver. And I'm going to be reading you some information about how different groups of people have made Denver what it is today. And then you are going to go to a link that goes to a site that has a list of a lot of important people in Colorado. And you're going to pick, we're going to read some, explore some, find one that you really think is interesting, and then you'll have some questions on that person. So, people of Denver. I'm going to read this. It's mostly so you can see some pictures. I've highlighted all of it because I'm not going to read every single page. But again, this was part of that book that normally you'd have to be able to read on your own. But since we are remote learning, I will read for you. I'm going to go through it pretty quickly. I'm not going to stop a lot. All right, over 2 million people live in the Denver area. Some families have lived in the area for a long time, while others moved to Denver only a short time ago. Some people come to Denver from other states in our country. People from other countries have also made Denver their home. They bring their own culture or way of life with them. The different things they do are called customs. Each culture has its own special holidays and different ways of celebrating. Many of the different people who come to live in the Denver area have shared their customs and cultures. We are going to look at a few of the different cultures that have helped make Denver the city it is today. We cannot talk about every culture that has helped to shape Denver. It is important to remember that every person who lives in the Denver area adds something special to the city. So the first group we're going to talk about is American Indians. American Indians wintered in the area where Denver now stands. When the settlers came, many of the Indians were forced to move to reservations. These are special places of land set aside for the Indians. There are two reservations in southern Colorado. There's the Ute Mountain Ute and the Southern Ute reservations. Today, there are less than 45,000 American Indians living in Colorado. Many live on reservations, but some choose to live in cities, such as Denver. Even though there are not many American Indians living in Denver today, we can still see reminders of Colorado's first people. Arapahoe Street and Ute Avenue are found in Denver. Uncompahgre, Saguache, Ouray, and Kiowa are Indian names found throughout Colorado. Each year in March, a powwow is held in Denver. More than 700 American Indian dancers and musicians come to this event. They come from 70 different tribes and 22 states. Denver has become known as the Native American capital of the United States. The Denver Art Museum has a wonderful collection of Native American things. And in that, I read what the word said in the book, but we know that we usually call them First Americans or Native Americans versus calling them Indians. This little picture here is interesting because it says Ben Nighthorse Campbell is an Indian chief, and he also used to be part of our state government. He was a Colorado legislator. All right, Hispanic culture. There are more than 500,000 Hispanic people living in Colorado. Some Hispanic families have lived in Colorado for more than 150 years. Most come to Colorado to farm the land, but some early Hispanics were cowboys. They drove cattle into Colorado from Texas. What we're celebrating today, well, I'm actually recording this on Tuesday, but Cinco de Mayo, or the 5th of May, is another custom, and on this day, some Mexican soldiers won a big battle against the French. And the French had many more soldiers, but the Mexicans won anyway. And so there is a big celebration normally of Cinco de Mayo in Civic Center Park. However, this year, due to the restrictions, they're not being able to celebrate that. It is fun to look at the Denver map and see how many streets have Spanish names. Some of these are El Dorado, La Plata, La Costa, and Manzanita. The name of our state, Colorado, is Spanish. It means color red. In 1983, the Denver people elected their first Hispanic mayor. His name is Federico Peña. He was Denver's mayor until 1991. And there is a picture of him. So the Hispanic culture is fairly wide in Colorado. African Americans. Jim Beckworth was a mountain man. He was one of the earliest black people to come to Colorado. Aunt Clara Brown was one of the first black women to come to Colorado. She had been a slave in the East. She worked in a bakery in Denver when she first arrived in Colorado. Henry Parker was made one of the first gold discoveries in Idaho Springs. He became a mine owner. He was only one of many African Americans who became successful miners. Barney L. Ford was another early gold miner. He built several restaurants and hotels in Denver. Some of these were burned down or blown up just because he was black. And so you're going to find out about lots of different people on that website, and one of them could be one of these people here. All right. In 1991, Wellington Webb became the first black mayor of Denver. Mayor Webb feels that Denver is a friendly city. He once said that the people of Denver give everyone a chance. Their skin color does not matter. And we know that we try to be inclusive, and no matter what someone looks like or what their skin color is or how they speak. All right. And then the next group here is Irish. People came from Ireland to work in the metal factories and the cattle stockyards. These factories were near the rail yards, so many Irish families lived in that area. Irish railroad workers helped build the St. Patrick's Church in North Denver. The church was often the center of their lives. Another St. Patrick's Church, another thing you can find in Denver that's pretty amazing. The Chinese. Gold in California brought hundreds of Chinese to the United States. When the gold ran out in California, they had to find other jobs. Some Chinese came to Denver to work on the railroad. These workers chose to live near each other because they didn't speak much English. They settled in what became known as Denver's Chinatown. Some people called it Hop Alley. And so there's an area in Denver that is dedicated to that. All right. In the Japanese, in the United States, they went to war with Japan in 1941. There were a lot of Japanese Americans living in California at that time. The people were afraid Japanese Americans would try to help Japan win the war. Many of these Japanese Americans were brought to Colorado. They had to live in special camps. They lost their homes and businesses in California, and this was a very hard time. And these are some buildings that were made in camps, and one of these camps was set up in Colorado. After the war, many of the Japanese Americans decided to stay in Colorado. Many moved to the Denver area. Sakura Square has become a center for Japanese Americans in Denver. And so that's another place when you're walking around downtown, you can, if we were going on our day in Denver, one of the places you could go was Sakura Square. All right, so that's just a little sampling of the different types of cultures that have been added into Denver and that you can see when you walk around Denver. These different places, like I said, the cathedral, different museums, the names of the streets, in fact, are named after certain cultures. And so now what I would like you to do is I'd like you to click on the link that's also on this assignment, and it's going to send you to a page with a long list of people. Explore, just find, read about some interesting ones. And if reading is difficult for you, there is a section where you can go and click on the link, and it will read it for you toward the top. And I'd like you to pick one of the people that you find that's most interesting and read all the way through that article and find some information about them, and then answer the questions on the Google form. And I do need you to turn in that Google form with the answers to give you full credit. All right, my friends, so find out some new information about people in Denver.